is Conor Benn admitting the Garcia weight cut is going badly, or is he deliberately creating false confidence? I'm really concerned about this. I previously said that I thought we're going to get an optimum version of Conor Benn. I previously said that Conor Benn and Conor Benn's team would not negotiate terms that would put them at a disadvantage. Yet, if the weight cut is going badly, that would lead to the logical conclusion that he's going to get in the ring and he's not going to be 100%. I truly feel that a Conor Benn at 60%, 70% or 80% is not enough to be competitive. It's not enough to get the job done. We need to see an optimum Conor Benn with an optimum strategy. We need to see that viciousness. Conor Benn, when he's optimal, he's vicious. He's got good head movement, which makes it hard to hit him. And the second Chris Eubank Jr. fight showed that he can make adjustments. He can fight an intelligent fight. He can be vicious, but also he can be calculated. And these are great things. But I think the question is, if Conor Benn is having a weight cut, how badly is that going to affect his performance? Not only could it affect strength, speed, endurance, and punch durability, how will it affect his cognitive thinking? How will it affect his ability to download information and then make the necessary adjustments? When he fights Ryan Garcia, there's a strong possibility that he's going to need to make adjustments to deal with the speed, to deal with the reflexes, to deal with the strategy, and to deal with the personality like Ryan Garcia. So him saying the weight cut is going badly, as I stated previously, is leaving me very ambiguous and very concerned. However, if it's a ploy, a Machiavellian ploy to create some false confidence, then that would be a very risky strategy. And, I feel that Conor Benn needs to come into this fight totally in optimum. He needs to be the best version of himself. I hope, and as I always say in boxing and in life, accountability is important. I hope this is not like a precursor to making excuses. Because like I said, they've negotiated the terms and the terms have been agreed. So only time will tell. So the second question is Conor Benn's willingness to fight at 168 against Chris Eubank Jr. in the Trilogy genuine confidence or brilliant marketing? I think it's a combination of both. I think he's talking about Chris Eubank Jr. because their team thinks Chris Eubank Jr. is still relevant. He's still a trending topic. He's still part of the algorithm. And I think Chris Eubank Jr. is fighting in November. And also, when you say Chris Eubank Jr.'s name and you link it to Conor Benn, it builds traction. So I think there is a marketing element behind it. But also, if he's genuine about having this trilogy and if he's genuine about conceding certain caveats or if he's genuine in conceding the rehydration, then we potentially have a different fight. However, if he fights Chris Eubank Jr., even if you take away the weight rehydration, do you still get the same Chris Eubank Jr. that is vicious and that is purpose-led? Is Chris Eubank Jr. able to recapture his former identity? Is he able to recapture what he was? That is a question that maybe not even Chris Eubank Jr. can answer. So even if you take away those advantages, I'm not sure if you could get a Chris Eubank Jr. at 80% or 90% or 100%, because allegedly the rehydration and those two fights, they had an impact on his health. How significant that impact is or was has yet to be determined. And the third question is, even without the weight cut, does Eubank Jr. still have enough left physically to compete? Again, we can't answer that question. We might get an implication to that question when he fights again in November. It's alleged that he's coming back in November. Again, there's some variables there. Who is he fighting? Are they going to provide him reasonable competition, or is this just a fight to rebuild some timing and to try and get him readjusted back into the ring and build some confidence. So the competition will matter in terms of determining where Chris Eubank Jr. is with regards to his comeback. It's going to be very, very difficult, I think, for Chris Eubank Jr. to rediscover his previous form. Remember, even before the Conor Benn fight, there was rumors of hand injuries. Now, this is really important because Chris Eubank Jr. used to be a pressure fighter. He would throw like 100 punches a round. When you start to develop hand injuries, that significantly impairs your style. So it's almost like he's tried to become a boxer. But it's hard to make that transition successfully. It's hard to make a successful transition from a brawler or a front foot pressure fighter to an educated boxer. So this is going to be really difficult. But what's going to be telling is who's going to be in the team. Who is the new trainer? I think the trainer is going to be important. And will that trainer have the respect? And will Chris Eubank Jr. listen to his trainer? Because the trainer is responsible not only for devising the tactics, not only for putting you through the drills, but also is responsible for creating an optimum environment. Question 4. Does Conor Benn want a trilogy because of money or because he still wants Chris Eubank Jr.'s respect? Of course, boxing has a relationship with capitalism and money is part of that. And Chris Eubank Jr., the trilogy potentially can still bring massive revenue. But I think there may be something personal here. And I think that because the rematch was overshadowed by the health situation and by the speculation over the health situation, Conor Benn may see this as an opportunity to get the respect and credibility that he deserves. So, obviously boxing is about money, entertainment is about money, but sometimes when there's lots of money on the table, there are other desires. And I think the desire of respect, might be something that Conor Benn craves. Of course, Conor Benn gets respect. He gets respect as a boxer. He gets respect as someone who's brave, who's courageous. But there might be a thing of he wants the respect for beating Chris Eubank Jr. without any caveats, without any conditions.